know it's 1951 was the rock that had it. It could be the middle school class of 51. Jay and Di could have put it there just out of being funny, a few years back. I'm not quite sure, but it's going to be really interesting to see what's in here. Now, we are streaming this live, and as you know, if you know Mary Ann, I have a very serious script that I have to follow during this process, so I'll make sure I stay on that. But I did want to extend to you my thanks for you being here. It's always great being a history person myself. It's great to be able to have an opportunity to get into some local history here and also have members of the class of 1951 with us. That's fantastic. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Brian Henry. I'm superintendent of the Waynesville R6 School District, and on behalf of the principals and staff of the Waynesville High School, I want to welcome you to the opening of the time capsule that is believed to have been placed inside a building stone, some 66 years ago at the former site of the Waynesville High School and Waynesville Middle School in downtown Waynesville. So welcome everybody, and please give yourselves a round of applause. Thank you. To begin our evening, would you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, and please be seated. Well, as I mentioned, our copper box here that's been sitting in my office is approximately 11 by 10 inches large, 4 inches deep, and when you think about the sheer volume and the ton of debris, if you've been downtown and looked at that, it's amazing that this box was ever discovered. It is the proverbial needle in a haystack. So it's going to be very interesting to see it be open. We had a very sharp construction crew member that noticed that, and we thank you for not only finding it, but also turning it over to the county. And we really want to thank our county commissioners, and if we could please have you stand when I call your name. I'm not sure if all of you are here, but start out with Gene Newkirk. Thank you. Lynn Sharp. And is Rick here? And also we had Rick Zerwink is also a county commissioner, could not be with us. We also have County Clerk Brent Bassett here. And Don Mayhew, I know, is in the audience here. He was with the surveying engineering firm that helped to discover our artifact here, so thank you. We appreciate you turning this over to the school district, and we appreciate it, and we're looking forward to seeing what's in here. So I also want to recognize our local dignitaries. We have our elected mayoral group here, so we'll start out with Colonel Tracy Lanier, the Fort Leonard Wood Garrison Commander. And I guess I should say Roll Tide. Roll Tide. I got this mysterious message the other night, Monday night. And it was, my daughter goes to Arkansas. It was the wrong scripted A. I don't know what I got that for. The season ended for us a long time ago. So, Mayor Luge Hardman from Waynesville. That's right. And Dr. George Lordson, Mayor of St. Robert. And all of our county officials from Fort Leonard Wood, also Pulaski County officials, our school administrators, teachers, and all the patrons that showed up to watch. I also want to acknowledge our school board members and ask them to stand as I call your name. I think, is it just the four of us here, guys? Or am I missing anybody in the crowd? Okay. We'll first call Mr. Butch O'Reilly, President. Mr. Paul Schultz, Vice President. We also have members, Mr. Mike Keeling and Mr. Dan Deering. I always watch when I'm introducing the board members to make sure I didn't forget anybody, because that could be really bad for me later. So, was Mr. Bardell able to show up? No, he wasn't able to. Okay, so Mr. Wayne Bardell is also our liaison from Fort Leonard Wood to our school board, and we really appreciate him helping us and guiding us in our educational processes. So, shortly we'll be offered a glimpse into an era when Route 66, the main street of America, was still in its heyday. The timing of this find and revival of interest in Route 66 has generated quite a buzz in our community, as evidenced by the turnout tonight and by those who are with us this evening, both in person and viewing us live on Facebook. Perhaps no one in the room is more anxious to see the contents than these individuals to my left over here, which are the members of the class of 1951 who are on the stage with us this evening. So give them a big round of applause for being here. As Mr. Lynch mentioned, this could be the middle school class, 8th grade class. We don't know, okay, for sure, but we know it said 1951 on the stone, so it'll be interesting when we open that up to see what we have in there. Would all of our Waynesville alumni in the room also stand, please? Let's give them a huge round of applause. I think they're taking executive privilege on the stage right now. So, and we can understand that. To put the early 1950s into perspective and briefly compare and contrast 1951 to today, the Waynesville High School Student Government Association has produced a brief PowerPoint. So I'm going to turn it over to our students. They're really excited.
Okay, thank you guys for being here. We're gonna give a presentation Okay. Before we begin our presentation, we would like to thank those of you for providing us with much of the information for this presentation, as we apologize if we misrepresent a time, person, or place. So, how does that work? So first, we're gonna talk about the school itself. So I have a pic of the superintendent from 1951, Mr. Cecil Elliott, and then Dr. Brian Henry, who was just talking. And then I found these pictures in the yearbook, and it's the class of 1951 in 7th grade. And as you guys probably know, the school that you guys went to in the 50s is being demolished to become our county jail. And the high school was so small in 51 that it could be held within the gym of today's high school.
All right, so I'm going to present the local changes. So this is just a picture of Waynesville's town square from 1942, and then the bottom one is more current. And then that's our frog that came out in the 2000s. Okay, so the average population in Waynesville was 350 in 1950s, and then now it is 5,800. The sports they played was just baseball, basketball, and volleyball, but now we have a variety of sports such as football, cross country, tennis, wrestling, track, and such. And then for popular restaurants, it was Ruth's Cafe, where a standard cheeseburger, fries, and cherry Coke was the normal. And then for us, we have like Sonic, El Jimador, Ruby Tuesdays, Cracker Barrel, and such. And then also for the grocery stores back then, they only had Hensley's Produce, Anderson's Grocery, and Dodd's Grocery. But now we have our franchises such as Walmart, Price Cutter, and Dollar General. Okay, so the development in Waynesville and at WHS, the construction to build Fort Leonard Wood started taking place just before World War II. And so Waynesville didn't have like water and sewer until the construction boom. And then also St. Robert was just a fraction of its current booming state in 1951, so basically St. Robert didn't exist back then. And also big franchises, commercial gyms, they also did not exist.
Take it back 66 years ago, and we have President Harry S. Truman compared to present-day President Donald Trump. In 1951, the GDP was approximately 350 million, and in 2018, the GDP is approximately 19.5 trillion. Also, the temperature of the Earth has risen almost 2 degrees, and global life expectancy has went up over 10 years. In addition, the 22nd Amendment was established, which meant that president could not serve more than 2 terms. And last but not least, the population in 1951 was 2.8 billion, and present day is now 5.8 billion.
So for the last part, I'm just going to compare 1951 compared to modern day. So as you can see here, that's like a prom picture that students would wear back in the 1950s. Like, it was pretty traditional and conservative. And then there's also a picture of cars, and then the staple Coca-Cola, which as we've grown as a country, so has the bottle. And then also a toy, that like a little boy might have got for Christmas, we also provided. And then we have people back in the 1950s, also clothes that they would wear compared to now. And the pictures here are just of our student council. And then we also have artists back then, so people like Buddy Holly and the Penguins. Compared to now, it's like Drake and Ed Sheeran. And then last but not least, we have a picture of Coca-Cola, hot dogs, burgers, and French fries, just to show that some things never do change. We, just like Michelle had said, we still like eat burgers and fries and Coke. So yeah. So just to end it, I just want to say a quote by Elie Wiesel. He was a Nobel Peace Prize winner, and he was also a survivor of the Holocaust. He once said that without memory, there's no culture. Without memory, there's no civilization, no society. I just wanted to say that we appreciate and we're thankful for the class of 1951. We're very honored to be here to present this to you. And we also want to thank all of you for being here in attendance. This is a big deal, and we also want to say thank you for being the inspiration for our very own time capsule that we'll be making this year. So thank you.
Yes. Yes, sir. I hope I can answer it. Curly. You know what, sir? They have all sorts of nicknames for me. Some of which I don't know can be said on live feed. But I did notice that hairstyles didn't change a whole lot until you got to of course, the presidential picture. But supersonic. Do I want to know why that is, Mr. Hensley? There are a couple more, and my apologies for forgetting a few recognitions here. I'll make sure that I recognize you now. Not only do you not want to forget board members, but you never want to forget judges, okay, in my position. So Judge Long, if you could, he's here. He's in the back right there. So if you could, yay, thank you for coming. We also have, I believe, 5 former board members in the audience. So could our former board members stand, please? Former board members. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Look at that. Okay. Thank you. Okay, I think I've covered all my board members now, and make sure the evaluations will be coming up soon. So, at this time, in the moment we've all been waiting for, I'm going to try to cut this thing open. It is made out of copper, thank goodness, so I don't have to be too strong, but it's worth a lot of money nowadays, which probably in 51 wasn't what we thought. So I will go ahead. We'll take the 10 snips out. I believe we'll have the Student Government Association come up. We'll take the contents out of the box, and they will share with you what we have in there. You ready, ladies? All right.
Do I take the mic out? Definitely can't.
Now this first part here, this is where the that off. You have some news. Okay, you all start. You have one right here. And it looks like
It's the Pulaski Democrat.
What's the date?
what's the date on it? This is it. Stone was 51. Yeah, go ahead and you can tell what. You might want to listen to the headlines at 50.
The top headline right now is home.
So this was the same Thursday, February 19th. One of the headlines, large.
Pretty interesting. Okay. Who's next?
Missouri State High School. That's
I'm gonna let Okay, who's next?
signed letters.
I don't want to get those anymore.
The regional basketball. I know Dan Mike.
This says Waynesville schools. Oh, okay, so it's a basketball.
Go.
Also, the regional basketball tournament.
This school building was built by a grant of $150,500 by the Federal Security Agency. A little different. With $50,000 worth of state funds and $20,000 matched district. You know?
Waynesville.
Looks like a basketball tournament. That's it. Well, very interesting. It looks like we need to have the class of 53 back too. We have to do a reopening of this. So if we have any 53 folks in the room, but we do appreciate the 51 stone. So somebody was trying to and an interesting thing, the paper that was actually shoved around the box were 52 papers. So it's very, very interesting. But as a former history teacher, I appreciate individuals who go out and do this, and we're really excited to have our students take part in this and be able to have a second now time capsule that they're going to build upon and actually put artifacts in from this particular time capsule in for the future. So at this time, well, first I want to mention that as mentioned during the PowerPoint, SGA members have been inspired by this time capsule and want to offer others the same opportunity. So we're going to have a presentation now with the mayors of our various cities and also representatives from Fort Leonard Wood to be placed in the new time capsule. So the mayors of the cities of Waynesville, St. Robert, it will be coming up, and if we could have our SGA students come forward for inclusion into the time capsule, we'll have Colonel Lanier on behalf of Fort Leonard Wood. Also, Captain Heather Weaver is with us, and she's going to be representing the 787th Military Police Battalion on Fort Leonard Wood. The 787th is one of the PI partners, which is a partner in education for Waynesville High School. And we'll also have Mayor Lordson and Mayor Hardman to present coins to our Student Government Association. They'll be placed in their time capsule.
Need to balance over it. I'd just like to say St. Robert in October 19.
All right. Yeah.
And I was going to donate my cell phone so they could call me so I could come when they open this other one. Stay up here. Stay up here. Okay. On behalf of the city of Waynesville, there's a... behalf of Fort Leonard Wood.
Thank you. So students, do you have any other ideas what else you're going to put in our time capsule for this year? You want to come up and share with them? Well, here we go. We've got more time capsule stuff.
Put it from this one to
Okay, so first we're going to put the coins in.
Okay, so one of the things we're going to put in is one of the one was have Waynesville High Cheetos, and then Skittles and a chocolate bar. Accessories, lot. Put our current varsity letter. We have the glass. Heartwarming. Have a national. We have more new. A 7 prom magazine from prom dress. We have another new. For all thumb drive in there, and on the thumb drive we did a quick tour of our entire school.
There we have a yearbook from 2016, and then we all put our emails in it. I didn't want to. Rural Missouri. Where you are.
Also another magazine from our school. It's just a heritage. And then we're gonna have the basketball boys. Okay, we're also gonna put in our park lighting. And one last thing, this is the recognition of the class of 1951 time capsule opening ceremony and the establishment of our 20 government capsule from the top 4 government. This
Nice job, ladies. Well, okay. Some 70 years from now, when there's another large, bald superintendent setting up here, it won't be me. Sonic Boom or Curly or whatever his or her name might be. Hopefully they won't eat those Twinkies. And or those Twinkies might survive that time very, very well, right? They might very well. So, very interesting. As I mentioned at the onset of the celebration here, not sure what we would find in it. We have a stone of 51, we have things from the class of 53, and we have papers from what would have been the 51-52 school year. So that's interesting. Also, Alan shared a bit of history that the Central Elementary was down there. So it's also, and that's the year it was built, I believe, from what he'd said. And so there's also a chance that could have came in there. But what a neat piece of our history. I'm so very thankful you all came out to share it with us, and I promise you, anytime we find any, I don't want to call it relics, because they're not relics, right, guys? They're just older papers and things. We'll make sure to open it up to the community so you can come in and take a look at it. We're also going to work with our local historical society in the preservation of the documents that we have here, so they'll be with us for posterity, hopefully. So thank you very much for attending. Have a great evening. Yep.